If we could give that canvas and exposure to the students at the early stage, these people will perform, and they really performed. And that was the thesis, and that proved again and again.
Let's come to Lambent Technologies.
Yeah.
I think you started around 2000.
Yeah, exactly. 2000.
And when mobile word was not even just
Yeah.
becoming a fad, you had seen something that others didn't. What was that thing?
Yeah, so when we were doing the ADCC, we were doing multiple things, right? From training to software development to the exports to GIS to multimedia. Lambent, everything was going good, but I felt that we can create much more value if we are focused, and that's where I said, let me now start with the young people again, and that was a company called as Lambent. I started in November 2000. Was when the IT went down. I mean, there was a internet boom, that happened, and everybody was helter-skelter during those times. And I started during that time with almost like 5-6 people, students. So I was like maybe 37, 38, and the second in line was 22, 23. Those were the students who were part of my ADCC group of companies. And at that time, I really wanted to focus to an extent. I said we will be only doing the software exports. Then we said we'll only do the software exports only to one country. I will not work in any other country or not even in India, only in the US. When we were doing this kind of thing, we also said during that time, that's how the mobile came in. So initially we were doing classical Java, .NET kind of stuff, Power Builder, Oracle. But this mobile technology, that was the kind of 2002. Why that came in? That came in because I knew that even if we do the software exports, we are going to hit the glass ceiling very fast. And they were already the big players. Like the Wipros during that time was 25,000 people, Infosys and those players. So that market per se was already kind of a
pre-existing
red ocean. And there were big players.
Yes.
And you are then going to eventually hit the glass ceiling. And I said, we have created this 200, 300 people company earlier. Now again, we will create a 200, 300 people company. And then what? So we had to move into a niche space. And unless we get into that niche space, we are not going to crack the game. So I tried my first attempt into the financial systems, straight through processing. Didn't succeed. 9/11 happened. But the next phase was, I was always thinking about it. I have to go into a niche space. And that's where actually this mobile thing happened. And the whole strategy came from a book. That book name is Rice and Jack Trout, The Great Marketing Warfare. And that book compared all traditional wars versus the corporate wars. Big versus big, big versus small. And that small versus big caught my attention. And that he said, you cannot win the war. Because if he took an example, 10 sharpshooters from this side, 5 from other side, in 3 rounds you will get eliminated. So that clearly told us that eventually we are not going to win the war. But that in the second page, he gave a very interesting. And he said, you will not be able to win the war, but you can expect to win the battle in the war.
True.
Provided you choose the battlefield such that you attack the enemy at his weakest point by your strongest force. And I said, looks interesting, but when you are in the right frame of mind, you try to apply that, and then when I started applying it, said, what does it mean to me? And it clearly means in a very simple language, because again we are short of time. It's singular, the new areas, the new technologies which come in the market for 6 months. No, even if the Wipro was there for 15 years, how can they claim the territorial rights on the areas of the technology which has just come 6 months? 2002 was, the mobile was just coming up. And we said, if the mobile is just coming up, in that also we said, the Qualcomm was the backer of CDMA, still is the CDMA's father. CDMA came up with a technology called as BREW, B-R-E-W, Binary Runtime Environment for Wireless. Just like a C programming or the Android and all those iPhone, this BREW was operating system as well as programming. And this was backed up by Qualcomm. And I said, if this technology is new, obviously I just played a mental, you just go through a kind of visualization. I said, if this thing unproven, but is backed up by technology giant, how many people Wipro would put in? Maybe 10, 15, 20. They are exploring hundreds of technology. But with the same analogy, where that last line came in. If you can expect to win the battle, provided you choose the battle, but attack the enemies at weakest point by your strongest force. So if I said, if this Wipro is going to be 20 people, why not I come with 80 to 100 people? If I come in with 80 to 100 people, maybe I have a chance to win that battle. And we just played that bet. We started putting our efforts on the mobile and then specifically on the brew. And I still remember the conversation with Mike Yuan from Qualcomm. And, because we had created that expertise, put the people, worked on the mobile technology of the brew, created some products on the top of it just to showcase. And I said to Mike Yuan, I took his appointment and said that maybe, we are looking for the ecosystem partners, the development teams who could help in the brew development. And he said, yes, but typically, we sort of work with the big companies like Accenture. I knew that statement is going to come in. And I said, please look at the product. Don't bother about the name of my company or other. He looked at the product. He said, yes, looks good. And I made a statement there. Mike, at the point T is equal to 0, where we are sitting just across the table right now, I have one of the largest teams in the brew on the world.
Oh.
And he said, how much? I said, 70 to 100 people, because 100 people, I can always, people in the pipeline you can bring. He said, are you kidding? 100 people team on the brew, nobody has it. I said, I have it. And that was the time.
Okay.
He said, you are not going anywhere. And then we became a Qualcomm partner, and he introduced to us as a Qualcomm partners to Electronic Arts, THQ, Soren, Gameloft, Sony Movies, Verizon, Autodesk, all those. So that was a kind of...
These are companies I have grown up using these companies' products, all these things.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
Qualcomm is still a big player today.
Qualcomm is a big player, and they introduced us to big players as a Qualcomm partner. So sort of we got entry into this Fortune 500 companies just like that.
Wow. And then so everything changed overnight.
Everything changed. And we became a mobile-specific company. So it's a niche play that happened.
Right. That too, bang, in Nagpur, nobody... I mean, probably a lot of people mustn't even heard about this thing. And even when you got this contract, probably news mein kahin chapa bhi hoga, to people from Nagpur must not be realizing what kind of thing you went into, hai na?
Yeah, it was 2003, so it is almost like 22, 23 years back.
If you have told somebody those time pe Qualcomm, very few people would recognize that name.
Yeah, it was only mobile. It was a new kind of thing, and developing, using mobile was coming in the fore, but developing or writing the code in the mobile, and for this Fortune 500 was a kind of a very, very different thing. So
you also were giving ESOPs to your employees. You had this ESOP culture. A lot of companies don't give today also. How did you think about this then?
Yeah, so...
where did this come from is what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, so, I mean, I would say people give... for Nagpur, ESOP was new.
Yeah.
But regular ESOP was something, was always on the cards or always on the table. I created not option to buy,